Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's the Engineer Barbie. In the last episode, I mentioned things might not get too exciting. However, check out the thumbnail. That's Jeremy, my best friend. Today I'm going to explain to you how I met Jeremy and take you a little bit along the journey and where things are today. Thanks for stopping by. So approximately about 18 years ago, I ended up being single. And I had a project that needed completed. It was drywall in the basement. And so I had ordered drywall from Lowe's Home Improvement and it was scheduled to be delivered. And prior to that, I had a big windstorm which blew my trampoline into the neighbor's house. So that was a terrible event and it ended up across the street. It just happened to kind of line up with the time frame of getting this drywall delivered. And at the time, I didn't know how in the heck I was going to get this heavy trampoline back across the street. So the drywall guys came and delivered the drywall, put it in the basement. And I had asked them, is there any possible way I could give you some money? And could you get the trampoline back over to my house? So one of the guys that helps, the name was Pete. And then there was another guy, not sure what his name was, but that is the beginning of the story. So another thing that fell in line is I wanted to meet new people because I had moved into that area and I didn't really know anyone. And so I took up ballroom dancing, which was approximately 18 years ago, if I have my years correct. And I met a lady there named Linda, and she was really nice, about my age. And so we became friends, and we met up at the ballroom dancing. And then she had invited me out a few times to go to an area down near where I lived. And it was, I hadn't gotten out in the area. I didn't know anyone. I didn't have any friends. I basically moved down there and worked all the time. So we ended up going and meeting up at this place, and we're sitting there, and then I looked over and noticed that Pete was there, the guy that had helped move my trampoline. So I jumped up and introduced myself and asked if he remembered me, and of course he did. And we started talking, and then next thing you know, he had introduced me to his brother Joe and then Jeremy. And so they ended up hanging out with my friend Linda and I off and on that night. And so I can't recall if we got their exchange numbers that night or not, but through time obviously bumped into them again and started to kind of make a connection and started to hang out here and there. And I mean, really being there and not having any friends, and the way my shared parenting schedule was, it made it pretty lonely. And so it was nice to try to get out and meet some new people. And I worked with all guys, so I didn't really have an avenue to meet women to hang out with or anything. But and the Linda lady, I think she was sort of going potentially through a divorce or was having some kind of issues of her own, which I can't remember. It's been so long ago and I have lost contact with her a long time ago. But it seems to me that she might eventually had gotten divorced and moved on. But we were sort of on a different trajectory, so we didn't really remain in contact too much. I mean, I tried to, but it just didn't work out for those reasons. And Jeremy and I just like connected right off the bat. And obviously the other guys too. So they really all became friends of mine. So, I mean, I didn't actually meet a bunch of girlfriends like I had imagined, but I did end up with a bunch of guy friends. And since I went to college with a bunch of guys and worked with a bunch of guys, it was easy for me to connect with guys. It's just practically, I mean, I'm probably to the point, or was to the point, where I'm just another guy, it seemed like. And so we just continued on, and they would have, like, it got to the point where they would come over and head over to my house, and then we would all go out and hang out, and I typically would drive. And so then at the end of the evening, they would come back and get their cars, and I can't recall, but they probably crashed on my couch before or went home. Um, and then, I mean, things just progressed. And Jeromy and I just had a connection that I've never had with really anyone other than, like, I do have a couple girlfriends that I've connected with in the same way. But I mean, we were like sidekicks everywhere we went. When we went out, we were just together. And I know some people made the assumption that maybe we dated or something along those lines, but that wasn't the case. We just did a lot. I mean, we would go thrift store shopping sometimes, to the pool, maybe garage selling, just different things. And really just, I don't know, just always enjoyed his company. He's a really good person. He has dated different girls over the years, and he did have a son, never actually ended up tying the knot. However, he did date quite a few, like, really nice women that I really liked. But I don't know, it was just a great time back then. And I don't know, he just kept me active. All my young friends kept me feeling younger. That is the one nice thing about hanging out with younger people, is it makes you feel younger. And I've sort of lost that to some extent, because a lot of my younger friends ended up having children or getting married. So then they got kind of tied up in that whole family thing where they didn't have a lot of time. And so I'm kind of just more at the point where I'm really to myself. And it's been a long time since I've actually ran around and did stuff and had a good time and fun and all that sort of thing. Not that I feel like I'm too old for that, but I just don't have the connections anymore to have that kind of lifestyle. And I'm not even sure if I'm up for it at this point. I mean, it looks fun from afar, but I do enjoy, like, the little projects I get into and stuff like that. So I'm sure you can probably relate at some level of where you get to at a point in life where, your interests change. I'm really into gardening now. And I mean, I just can't even imagine what it would be like to go out and stay out super late and maybe possibly feel tired in the morning from that. I guess my interests have changed quite a bit, which my friends' interests have changed as well. So, that's just a cycle of life. Things change. But I mean, I'm still really good friends with Jeromy. I don't hardly get to see him that much anymore. Although, I mean, if I really needed something, I'd call him, and if he could, he would help me. In fact, he has in the past year. And I have moved, so he is planning on coming and seeing me, hopefully soon at some point. But the situation I'm in now, like, it's not my house just isn't the most hospitable place to be. And that will be for a future video. But I just ran into a lot of issues when I moved that I'm sorting out and dealing with on a daily basis. So I will get into that. But I did want to introduce my best friend Jeromy, because he's been a big part of my life over, the past 18 years. And he is just a wonderful person. And, there is a huge age difference. I don't know if I mentioned that, but his mom and me are close to the same age. I might, in fact, be a little bit older than her, a few months. But I love his mom. She's great. It never seemed awkward that I was hanging out with her son. I think she knew that we both had good intentions. And I don't know. I mean, she's always been wonderful to me. And I don't know, I've just always adored Jeromy. I love him to death. I couldn't ask for a better best friend. He would give probably anyone the shirt off of his back and help people out. He's just a really good guy. And I think that I know a lot of people feel funny about whether or not women and men should be friends, but I will say that it has caused some problems over the years with different relationships that him and I have had with other people. Because, a lot of people, you know, feel insecure when, you're that, I guess, say that close to someone of the opposite sex. But I think that anyone that got to know him or me on either side realized there's nothing there. I feel like he's like a brother to me, son, whatever, family, I guess I should say. So I think everyone should have a relationship like that, someone in their corner, someone they can lean on, that's there for them. I would be there for him if he needed me. I have been. I don't know. I miss him dearly. He means the world to me. And, I've never want anything but the best for him. I hope that, although he hasn't found the one, I hope someday that he does. I think that would be great. But, the older you get, I think sometimes you realize that might not happen. I'm kind of in the same boat. But I don't know. I never lose hope that the one might come along. But that is my best friend, Jeromy. He's amazing. If you're single, let me know. But I don't know. I do think he's probably past trying to date at this point. I'm guessing. Sometimes it just almost seems like more work than it's worth. But he is a good person. We've had such great times. I'm sure I'll be sharing some of those times in future videos. But before you leave, make sure you click on my video on how to feel better. It's my last video, and there's a recipe in there. I think it's worth your time to watch. Make it, eat it, if you can, if it's within your diet restrictions, and give it a month. See how you feel. Let me know. It's great. It's a great thing to start. Every time I do it, I feel great. I get energized. So stick with me here, and we'll get into some more great content. Have a great night.